Well, Mr. Clark, a lot of people seem to want to get their hands on this little chappie at the moment. Yes. Now, obviously, it's Collymore. No doubt you were poking around some dingy little place and there he was, surrounded by rubbish.
Oh, you've been to Southend United then, have you?
So, did someone point you in his general direction?
Well, you see, the bloke who had my job before me, he was interested, but he changed his mind.
Was this because he felt this was something whose artistic merit rendered it beyond price?
No, I think it was because there wasn't a brown envelope left behind the radiator at the service station. So he bought Robert Rosario instead. You're all right,
yeah? I'm sorry, I used to be on the buses.
All right.
I see. Well, as I say, it's a very good one. As for its value, well, shall we say if Paul Furlong is worth £2.3 million, I'd say he was worth about 180 million.
Oh, bloody... Of course, I wouldn't sell him.
Really? Well, you could be laughing on the other side of your face.
Meaning what, exactly?
Well, simply that you can have an asset one day that's worth millions and the next day no one wants him.
I was going to bring Neil Webb, but I don't think I'd have got him through that door.
Well, as I say, there are a lot of people interested in this Collymore, but, you know, if you're never going to pick up the phone...
Look, I'm sick of these stories about me not answering the phone. The thing is, in my office, the phone's on the right-hand side of the desk, right? So when I answer, I go... Hello? Hello? What do you mean there's no one there? Hello?
Managers can only watch and wait and hope.
Come on, Giggsy!
Stephen, go and get the ball!
This is almost fantasy football.
Let's look at the next thing.
Hello and welcome to Fantasy Football League.
Yeah, I noticed there was another Willie Thorne, Gary Lineker reference in that opening bit. In case you didn't get that, anyone who's watching, this is no joke, this is absolutely true. For my birthday, Dave bought me, not for my birthday actually, for Christmas, he bought me Best of Friends, the official story of Gary Lineker and Willie Thorne. This marvellous video.
Yeah.
£2, was it?
£2.10, yeah.
Think of... And how much money did you make when you played Adrian Mole? Must have made a fortune.
So I suppose you won't be interested in your birthday present then?
Best of Friends, the official story of Dennis Wise and Fred Housego. Not particularly. Anyway, welcome to Fantasy Football League. Now, this week we'll be recreating one of the most famous fouls of all time.
And we'll be saying a big hello to Bill Foulkes.
Hello, I'm Bill Foulkes.
Hello! Still looking well, isn't he?
He is.
But first, a few things we noticed from watching football this week. Good to see that Kevin Moran's old Blackburn teammates are still finding ways to keep him on his toes.
Oh dear. And following further criticism that teams are always changing their colours, it now seems that referees are trying to cash in as well.
What does that mean? Ecologically unsound? Get off. And after rumours that John Fashanu was unhappy with his emergency dental work this week, we understand that the dentist was recommended to him by Kevin Keegan.
And following news that Philippe Albert is likely to be out till the end of the season, Keegan made a move to entice Gary Mabbott to the club. Always useful.
Oh, got a boo there. Was that a Tottenham fan? Someone who was nice, I suppose. Meanwhile, being Gillingham's most famous fan, Brian Moore was asked if he'd consider pumping some of his fortune into the ailing club.
Go on, piss off.
worth a try, wasn't he? All right, Stato, how are you?
Stato?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Been a big week of cup action. It's been great.
Yeah.
Yes, what's been the highlight for you?
Well, I thought Birmingham put up a brave display against Liverpool. The game went to penalties. It's a shame that they couldn't convert any of them. And I love Barry Fry's quote saying at least we were consistent. It brought back memories to me of that semi-final they had against Portsmouth when Portsmouth ran them so close and nearly got to Wembley and failed in the shootout. Thought that was good.
Someone started snoring in the audience there, in a sarcastic manner.
Actually, I was quite interested.
Yeah, so was I.
Well, I think it's been a great week for the underdogs
I'm not
as well.
interested now, though. No, I've lost it.
Why don't you do what you do best?
Oh, we can't get an Arab boy at this time of night,
Oh, hold on. Oh, we can.
All right.
Fine, that's great. I think it's
In fact,
Anyway.
Sam and Mam said I can have one if I score 15 goals.
Well, enough of that. Let's get on with it. It's now time for my news round.
Come on, boy.
It's uncanny how often the BBC Two Fantasy League parallels the real world. For Blackburn and Manchester United, read Patsy Kensit and Alan Hansen. They've opened up a 9-point lead over Frank, who leads the chasing pack. Closing in on Frank is Russell Grant. An assist and a goal from Blackburn's unsung Jason Wilcox, the highlight of a 15-point week. There's no doubt that Manager of the Week is Nick Hancock. Jerome Bowen's diving header helped the son of Stoke to an extravagant 20 points. Tonight's guest, Elvis Costello, is the epitome of mid-table respectability. Efenakoku's active revenge against Norwich formed part of his 9-point week. Our other guest, Joe Brand, has conveniently had a bottom lift. The ending of John Fashionu's goal famine at Villa has taken Joe to previously unscaled heights. But last year's hero is this season's dunce. David is bottom of the class, but with Kiyomya and Cole trying past as new, my flatmate could still make an impression to rival his Jimmy Hill.
How dare you call me a dunce?
Well, you're bottom of the table.
Eh?
You're bottom of the table. I think it's fair.
What's on the telly? Oh, it's that Gary Lineker Crisps advert.
No, hold on a minute.
So many lonely people. Why must they be apart? I hope someday you'll be together, singing these words with all your heart.
Now, of course, that was a joke. Everyone knows that Willie and Gary are indeed the best of friends.
Of course, you know who our best friend is, don't you?
Who?
Portsmouth are now going to score. Aren't I a good guesser?
Oh, he's playing with the medium there, isn't he, Tom?
I'll bet he knew.
Do you think?
Oh, hold it. Is that the doorbell?
Ah. You've been very influenced by Tom, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, really. Oh, my God, it's Joe Brand and Elvis Costello. So welcome to the wacky world of fancy football. Are those AC Milan trousers you've got on?
No.
Oh. It's the same colours. I didn't mean no disrespect.
So Elvis,
it was Stato that did the bottom lift joke. I want to make that absolutely clear.
Yes, I heard, thank you.
I mean, Stato had a bottom lift and it ended up on his shoulders.
Elvis, you're a Tranmere fan. Good win for them on Wednesday.
Very good, yeah. Well, I'm a Liverpool fan really, but this Tranmere thing has got out of hand now. So.
You've got sentimental.
I have sentimental reasons, and also I think they probably have been at Wembley more often than Liverpool recently, and therefore stand a better chance of knowing, where the goal is.
Yeah, well, I had
if you watch the Liverpool game.
Yeah, I didn't see the Liverpool game. What happened? Ricky Otto scored, which is
the legendary Ricky Otto.
Yeah, great for St.
I think he only did it so that he could feed your scripts, actually. He did miss a sitter in the last minute. They never would have got the penalties. He actually should have won the game.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you watch it, Joe?
No.
I'm afraid I missed the stuff on telly because I was driving back from the Hawthorns, where we'd just lost. No, not actually a joke.
Yeah.
And was very, very depressed. We had one of the worst referees I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Not because not that he was unfair. He was just rubbish in all aspects of the game. He booked something like 24 people, and one of them was a steward. And 2 people got sent off. It's a nightmare.
Arsenal have gone out. Always a joy. Although it's about the only time I've ever been upset about Arsenal going out, because it now means that Chelsea have got Millwall in the next round, and I quite like having testicles. And so that's a bit of a shame.
You can't really imagine Hoddle and McCarthy having a punch up on the sidelines though, like the other night with McMahon and McCarthy had a punch up in there the game the other night.
He just likes a punch up, doesn't he?
And of course McMahon doesn't. McMahon's made a career out of it.
St John was taking McMahon to task for being miserable after the game the other night. Did you see him saying he said, there's another example of the Liverpool charm school there, like sort of forgetting about the 15 times he got sent off for headbutting Billy Bremner,
Yeah. I think one of the sad things was Carlisle got knocked out, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for Carlisle. Yeah, thanks. Partly because
that just sounded like a sheep, though. From Carlisle.
No, I actually brought that with me.
Right.
But there's a woman in Carlisle whose name's Heather Harker, and this is not a joke. It's absolutely true. Heather Harker makes football coffins. And if you want to be buried in a coffin in your team's colours, you can buy one for, I think, was it 250
250 quid, I think,
and
yeah.
I think we have actually got, this is not a joke, a genuine Heather Harker
Have you got that,
coffin.
Stato? Can you show us it? It's real, this isn't... We haven't...
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Look at that. It looks like a gigantic shoebox, but it is actually a coffin.
It looks like Basil Brush after a car accident. But this is real, and it's biodegradable, so you'd be buried in it and then slowly, dissolve, is the idea. I think that's the way it goes.
Can you, presumably you can get it in all colours, although if you made it in Man United colours, you'd start making one have to change it immediately. A bit of a shame. Would you be buried in a Liverpool colour coffin?
I don't want to think about it too hard.
Joe, you're a crystal.
I'm a crystal.
You're a
Thanks,
crystal,
Dave.
Yeah. You're a lovely crystal.
I'm a Crystal Palace fan, that's what you're going to say, isn't it?
Hey!
Thank you so much.
You wouldn't consider... I wouldn't mind being buried in a West Brom coffin. You going? Oh, God. Well, you know that they actually stopped people having their ashes scattered on the pitch at Anfield? There's so many people wanting to get scattered on. This is absolutely true.
Yeah.
But they had to put a ban on it.
They were afraid it was going to give them an advantage, like the Valley.
It'd be a slope, yeah. And also a lot of hearses got nicked from outside the ground.
It's far beyond this week.
Oh!
Tell us about... Do you go to Palace a lot?
I haven't been for a long time because I had a rather unpleasant experience. I crushed about 4 supporters to death when I sat down. And no, I went.
Pink Floyd concert as well, I seem to remember.
Yeah, but that was deliberate. Pink Floyd fans, you know what I mean? I haven't been for a long time. No, I have to say. I used to actually live quite near the ground, but I don't now. So and I can't walk very far, and it's a bit hard getting a trolley to take me down there these days.
You could get a coffin, and we could carry you down there one weekend.
Okay, you're on, friend.
What an entrance that was.
Of course, Ian Dowie, our favourite on this show, has gone to Palace, and Ian Dowie always likes to blend in wherever he goes. We've got a shot of him here in the Sellers Park crowd. It is a bit cruel, isn't it? Poor old Ian Dowie.
Never mind, eh?
Yeah.
I feel a lot better about it now. I think you've absolved us on that. You ever played football, Joe?
I used to when I was a kid. Obviously, I can't play now. Do you know what I mean? Too busy. I mean, I think a lot of blokes still take the piss, and I think they just assume women's football is crap, you know, that the woman just pops the ball in her handbag and gets her husband to drive her up to the goal on the way to the shop. If it was like that, I'd play. Do you know what I mean?
Arsenal have a women's team, then, don't they? I think they should have fielded them the other night.
Hold their turn. Anyway, look, there's a lot of slating football, but here are 2 men whose reputations are beyond question.
Oh, you crack me up, Jimmy, I tell you. OK, then, let's have some more sizzling Ensley League action. This week's big game, Grimsby versus Port Vale. I tell you, this will be a...
Wasn't that just an older version of Willie Thorne?
Elvis, let's have a look at your team.
Oh, God.
There it is.
Deadly Submarine.
What's Deadly Submarine FC all about?
Deadly Submarine. Well, I was looking for inspiration in this, and I looked to the great John King, the Tranmere manager, and he was asked what he thought about Tranmere's relationship to the other 2 Merseyside clubs, and he said, Liverpool and Everton are like stately liners of football floating on the Mersey, and Tranmere are the Deadly Submarine. So it had to be.
Went the crowd.
It's a grind.
That was a good match. That's one of the best oohs we've ever had on this show.
I thought you'd actually put it in, you know, but it was the sound of it.
But your team isn't Tranmere, of course. So
oh my God, that's a bit spooky. Willie and Gary have fallen off the wall. You don't think something terrible's happened to Willie? Oh my God,
I knew he should never have done that advert.
Well, you got to the second round.
Oh no, this is going to be bad news. Oh, okay.
What?
No, he went out in the first round. About 10 minutes.
That's all right then.
Oh, that's all going
so. Who's been doing
he
it?
Won't buy a drink, will he?
Who's been doing it for you then in your team?
I've been thinking about playing Arsenal tactics actually. Up until last week, I had a reserve goalkeeper, and I was thinking of playing a goalkeeper that wasn't actually fielded in the real world, so that couldn't lose any more goals because Crossley seems to let so many in. But other than that...
Is that Arsenal tactics, not fielding a goalkeeper that isn't in the real world?
Well, if you know what I mean, you wouldn't actually gain any points at all if you played a goalkeeper that wasn't... You know, right. This is negative fantasy football now. It's another thing.
Right.
It's like, you can do it on Open University.
Well, you've lost me. You got the impression that David Seaman was some kind of existential spirit.
Actually, David Seaman the other night had a very worrying haircut. Did you see him? He normally wears the old Ray Reardon slick back look. You know,
nothing wrong with that. I can't
there's
see
nothing
anything wrong
at all
with
that. The other night he was wearing it sort of washed out and what looked like a worrying pink rinse on it as well.
Joe, let's have a look at your team.
No, I have to say, I mean, I'm not like a big expert or intimately acquainted with everyone in the Premier League, so I had to take a friend of mine who's a Millwall fan along to help me pick the monsters. And we got the sort of well-known ones like Vinnie Jones and Fashanu. And then we kind of got to the end, and I was sort of saying to him, well, should we have Molby? And he said, well, he drove into a lamppost and had a fight in a gay club. And we went, right, we'll have him then. Because that was the sort of calibre of player I was looking for, really.
The thing is about Fashanu, which is surprising, did you know that Pele is his favourite player, which is a bit surprising, isn't it? You've got a clip of Pele in action, actually. There he is in the old yellow shirt and green shorts.
Well, that explains that.
Perhaps not that surprising. No, I feel sorry for Fash a bit, because I don't know. Have you seen the incident, the Gary Mabbott one, when the elbow went in? I have never seen a version of that which looks like he deliberately did it. I think it was an accident.
Well, you know, you do see some eye injuries which look like, compared to that, which look like they might be quite deliberate. So, Joe, you've mentioned fat jokes tonight, and you've done a few. They've been very, very fine as ever. But
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, but just to wrench that round the subject of football, weight training is of course very important for footballers. And here's a player who's a bit overweight. You might enjoy this. Here he is. But the thing is that get him on an exercise bike, you know, and a few years later. No problem.
Worked a treat. There.
So were you a big Mulby fan as a Liverpool fan? Do you think he's past his best? Or
I think he's a great player. Yeah. But actually, the fittest he ever was when he came out of Nick. You know.
Was it?
Yeah.
How long was he in?
It's a bit worrying about Mike Tyson, then, isn't it? He'd be an absolute monster. Because he was such a nice bloke when he went in.
If they can play football, what does it matter if they're a bit fat? Do you know what I mean? I think no problem at all. I mean, I remember
crooked or on drugs.
Eh?
Yeah. Or crooked or on drugs.
Yeah. I remember going to see Gaza play when they were playing Hearts. This is like years ago.
I was there. I was with you.
Oh, you were there.
Yeah.
That's right. And brilliant it was. And we were all going, "You fat bastard!" I was having a great time. And someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, "They're shouting at you." Actually. Yeah, that's right. You were at that game. Yeah. Oh. Now you're bottom of the league. You sad.
Thank you, Joe.
And now, it's time for Phoenix from the Flames in Europe. This week we go to Barcelona to meet the Dutchman who destroyed our World Cup dreams.
Hello, Ronald. Welcome to Fantasy Football League. Is this your first speaking part on British TV?
Oh no, I was a lot on TV when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, don't you remember? The Milky Bars are on me.
Right, now, we're here to recreate that moment in the World Cup qualifier, England versus Holland, when David Platt was racing into the box and you sort of tackled,
You mean when I should have been sent off?
Well, yeah.
You realise, Ronald, that after that incident, you know, it got a bit ridiculous. People in England started to blame you for everything that had ever gone wrong with English football.
No, trust me. Nobody will laugh at you, Mr. Venison.
So I think what we need to do is to make the cup final more popular, more accessible, more fun.
I know just the man. Hello. Can you get me Tom Webster?
Oh, God, dear. What are we going to do, Laurie? Smith. Alan Smith. I know. I'll bring on Alan Smith. For Lineker.
Lineker? That'll really upset some people.
I felt a bit sorry to Graham Taylor in the World Cup game. He was trying England to play skillfully. Even Tony Adams. was hitting the ball with his outside of his feet. All the time it was Laurie McMenemy was tearing up Graham Taylor with his Victor Meldrew impression, no?
I don't believe it.
So, what do you remember about the Platt incident?
No, it was a long pass of Andy Sinton towards to our box, and I was a little bit behind David Platt, and I was pulling him on his arm, on his shirt, and the first pulling, I think it was outside of the area, and what's happened? Know everybody.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell you what, Frank, you're Andy Sinton.
Okay.
No, you don't understand. You are Andy Sinton. Look at this.
Okay. I'm Andy Sinton.
Right, well, okay, I'll be David Platt and you be Ronald Koeman.
Okay, play Eddie Poolman.
Kamp graag wil komen. En nu, geen buitenspel. Platt. Het is er buiten. Maar Assenmacher legt
Right! Obstruction!
What are they being instructed?
So why do you think you weren't sent off?
Oh, it was Etienne's fault. The newsreader, Trevor McDonald, was a big Holland fan. And so, he stole the referee's red card, I think.
Yeah, well, it's all right joking, Ronald, but the fact is you are a villain. It's because of you that team never got to represent England in the World Cup.
Yeah, and because of you there were no English fans at USA 94.
Yeah, and because of you, Graham Taylor got the sack. Buy you a drink.
Do I not like orange?
I should say it, but when we were in Barcelona, we made an amazing discovery, right? This bloke in this restaurant. You know, in The Fly, when Jeff Goldblum gets into the fly machine and there's a fly in there and he comes out half man, half fly. Well, this is what happens, right? If Jimmy Hill and Peter Beardsley had got into the fly machine, right? There he is. What a lovely bloke he was.
Very nice chap as well. Do you remember that? You remember that? It's a terrible, terrible thing. When not that waiter, but but when
very unkind.
No, I'm sorry. He was a nice bloke, but when
he was worst shag I've ever had.
Down Platt.
Oh, come on, I was on holiday. Who in the could that be? I wonder at this town. Hello, Jeff.
Frank, how are you? Have a piss.
Oh, thanks very much. Jeff Astle, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so alone, my love, without you. You're part of everything I do. When you come back and you're beside me, these are the words I'll say to you.